YouTube, we meet again. This new venture into, I guess I can't even really call it a new venture, but stepping back into YouTube in a completely different way than I have before. With the way things have been changing, the landscape of social media, my burnout. I posted on TikTok that I was going to start dabbling into this whole long form content space, which I think for me is going to be a pretty good thing because I can be long-winded in a lot of things that I like to talk about. And TikTok just isn't the platform for that anymore. I don't know. I realized how many people have only really been with me in this like last couple of years of doing social media on that side. And most people don't even really know who I am or my background or like how long I've been on the internet. I got a comment from somebody yesterday, said, searching for you and seeing a man skateboard off a church was weird, but I found you and so excited to follow. Which really made me think most people now don't even know that I actually had a whole, I don't want to say a skateboard career, but I had a career in skateboarding for the last like decade prior to this.
Employees. Work test is really just
So I figured I'd just sit down and I guess just talk about myself. I don't know. It's weird. The landscape of the internet is just strange to me. I've never been someone that considered myself to be someone that people really cared about in a positive light. And I say that because coming from an industry like skateboarding, it's just cutthroat. Like, I'm not crying or complaining about it, but my whole life on the internet up until these last few years has just been just riddled with trolls and people talking shit. Like, that's just the nature of what that game is. And it, you know, it gives you tough skin and you figure out where your place is and how to fit in and all that. But for me, it was really just an uphill battle, doing a lot of on-camera personality stuff and not actually being a professional skateboarder, which that is where all the accolades are held. The street skaters, they go, they film parts, they do all these things to build up their reputation in their careers, and it's solidified. But when you're on the industry side of it in a different way, and me being someone that was on the hosting, personality, podcast side, it came with a lot of backlash because I'm an opinionated person. A lot of the things that I like to speak about or touch on don't necessarily get the positive response that I would hope for in that space. And that's all good. I cherish my time in skateboarding. It does feel like a completely different era of my life, but I love skateboarding with all my heart. I got this shit, I got Skate or Die tattooed on my arm. Like, this shit really, when I tell you I love skateboarding through and through, it's the reason I moved to LA and pursued the things that I did. So for me, that it holds such a special place in my heart. But in March of 2023, I decided that it was time for me to step away because I no longer felt the same drive and passion and love that I once felt for it from that industry side that I was in. And at the time, the show that I was a part of was kind of, I don't want to say dismantling, but we were having our differences. And as 5-6 different individuals that all have different ideas of how things could go, should go, what we would like to see, sometimes you just run into bottlenecks and kinks in the system where things just don't run fluidly anymore. And as adults, you have to make some decisions. I made a decision that was for me. The show and the people a part of that made a decision that was for them. And we ultimately decided to part ways. And I'm so grateful for my time with not only those dudes, but also just in that space of podcasting, internet culture, skateboarding. Heart's beating out my chest real fast
man.
right
You
now.
got me on the run.
Palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. That was 5 years of my life that I spent growing, learning.
STEEZUS, how you doing over there? Been quiet for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you know what it is. Yeah, it's the last episode, man. This shit, regardless of feelings and regardless of what has come and where we are in our lives and all that shit, this is 5 years of our fucking life, man. Just grieving something. Like,
True.
This shit ain't to be taken lightly. Like, yeah, y'all keep talking about how much hard work it was, and I'm not discrediting that at all. However, this was not only 5 years of our lives, but like, this saved a lot of other people, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's just not names and numbers on a fucking screen, bro. Like, this shit was real. So just taking it all in. You know me, I'm emotional. I feel shit. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like, I don't take this shit lightly, regardless of what it is and what it was. Like,
yeah.
we was here for a reason, man. We all came together in this room every week for 5 fucking years, bro. Like,
Yeah.
that shit ain't nothing sweet about that. Like, we did some shit.
Yeah.
I've been on the ground level talking to kids, talking to other adults, talking to people on some like heart to heart, man to man, human to human shit. Like, nah, this ain't just a last episode, man. This is closing a chapter in a lot of people's lives.
I learned a lot about myself during that time. And even prior to that, when I was working for this company called The Barracks, there's just people that don't know that skateboarding holds such a solid place in my heart. And I always will love skateboarding, just first and foremost, because it was my outlet when I was a kid to escape the trials and tribulations of things that were going on in my life. Some of my best friends, people that I still to this day play Warzone with damn near every single day, are my homies because of skateboarding. I got to put that in a package together because I just know most of y'all probably only know me from either cleaning videos, Trader Joe's, Ghost, like whatever. There's so many different avenues that I have gone down in these last few years of my life because I've always been somebody who was multi-hyphenate. I care about a lot of different things, and I care about just the way that I get to express the things that I care about, because everything that I was a part of before, I was a part of something greater than myself. So I never looked at it as I could branch off and do this on my own. Even though I've always bet on myself and I've always known that I was capable of doing these things, it was always for the greater good of what I was a part of. I never wanted to overstep because I knew that if I could play my part and I could stay in my lane, we could go much further than if I was to venture off and go rogue. And I think that's one thing that maybe has always held me back, because in my mind, what I saw for the show, the podcast, just the overall thing that we were a part of, I saw us being like AMP. Like, I'm gonna keep it all the way at being. The vision that I see, or that I saw, was for us to be bigger than what it was that we were a part of, and that being skateboarding. I could see us transcending so many different niche genres and cultures and genre blending, being able to tap into things over in the gaming and the esports space, and then music and culture and food. And we had so many different people that were into different things, but ultimately, that wasn't what that was designed to be, and I wasn't the creator of that. So I had to play my part and sit in the back seat and let it be what it was. Fast forward, everything that I was trying to put into the show and the energy I was trying to create and the things that I wanted to bring to the table over there, I just poured into myself. So I really just started studying almost like the human psychology of social media, especially TikTok at that time, because during 2020 and all this, the weird times we were going through, that was something that was new and exciting, and people were really diving into it in a different way. And I just saw potential there. And I knew if I could find my niche, I could find my lane, I could tap into it the right way, that I could make something happen. It worked out in my favor. 2023 was crazy because I got to be in an Honest Beauty campaign, which super random. I was in an NFL commercial representing the Kansas City Chiefs. All of that was insane. I got sponsored by Ghost, which is a brand that I've been using for the past damn near since their inception. And it was just so many different things that were just going into motion. I was having meetings over at Google and YouTube, and I would go to events and people would be like, hey, I know you. And it was just a completely different energy, because I was used to being recognized through just skateboarding and the podcast, and again, being on the internet for as long as I have. But it was the first time that I had ever really received positive feedback for the things that I was doing, which was just me being myself. It's been an interesting ride because I've gotten such thick skin and so accustomed to trolls and people hating, that when people started being nice and like there was no negative comments, I was getting really kind, just thoughtful DMs and people telling me how much of a comfort I was for them, and just whatever, just all these different things, that it became overwhelming. And it's weird to say that as somebody who has been on the internet for as long as I have and existed in this way and has had to create this individual that is STEEZUS to be that representative on the internet, so that I could still have my own private life and still have my own time to be human. I think that's one thing that a lot of people forget when you step into a space that is a public domain, like social media or just the internet in general, is that we are still human beings too. I know it sounds silly to say that, but it's real. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and that burnout becomes real when you really equate your worth to the numbers, the impressions, the output, and then you get sponsors and you have these sponsored posts and things you have to do that now I want these to perform well because I want more of this to come in. And there's so much that goes into it that becomes very stressful. That caused a lot of mental, physical, emotional damage for me over this last year, that I almost had to just kind of like pump the brakes completely and just allow myself time to heal and grieve past traumas and really just step into a place of existing as I am and being confident in who I am, no matter what the numbers say, from losing contracts or deals aren't coming in the same way at the same price. That it takes a toll on you, and you have to be accepting of that. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I gotten so used to high numbers and high views on TikTok, and I was basically taking YouTube level content from my perspective, the things that I like to consume on YouTube, and bringing it into the palm of your hands. That was my mentality in the beginning, because I understood more people have these things in their hands for hours on end than people do sit and watch long form content on YouTube, whether it be on your phone, on your TV, on your computer, whatever. So I just knew that there was something there. And like I said, I studied that and became my own formula. And I got so used to hundreds of thousands of views when I'm standing in my kitchen unboxing groceries. The internet is a very interesting place, and the way that the trends come and go, things ebb and flow, it's kind of fickle. But YouTube has been around for so long, and it's the one platform that allows people to just be themselves and express who they are. I know there's going to be people that tune in just to hate watch or just to troll. That's just the nature of the internet at this point. I think I've matured enough to a place where it don't bother me as much as it used to. It really used to get to me, and that's something that I've had to admit to myself as well. There's a lot that comes with this that you don't necessarily sign up for, but it's in the fine print. What I've learned is I have sort of become, and this is from people telling me, I have become people's comfort creator. I hold that really close to my heart, because at one point I had people that I looked to, like Jenna Marbles and Casey Neistat and Optic Hex, like all these just different people, Nate Shot, different people in different niche bubbles that I looked to for comfort when I was down and out, going through things, or just wanted a quick laugh. And I have learned that I'm just a product of that environment, and that feels really good to have other people recognize that. And that's what this channel is going to be for me. I'm doing what feels right and what feels natural. And that's why I wanted to have this first little sit down video. Next video, we're going to get into a ghost giveaway. And I got ideas of things that I want to put out, a list of books that have helped me so much over these last couple of years, and different ways of thinking and being. And men's mental health is something that I'll never shy away from, because I have dealt with mental health issues for the majority of my life. And that comes from childhood trauma and just regular everyday stressors that really set the tone for a different baseline than most. I've joked about it before, saying, oh, it's just ADHD and you got a rhythm with autism, and it's all fun and games, but it's real. It's a serious thing to really come to terms with, and to understand that some of us are just wired differently, and I happen to be some of us, I guess. 2025 and probably the next 4 years and maybe even beyond are going to get a little strange. And if I can be a little cozy corner of the internet for some people, even if it's for a few minutes to just take your mind off of life and what's going on, that is a privilege and an honor. And I'm just grateful that y'all are allowing me to step into this. And the support over these last couple of years has been, again, overwhelming, but it's been so necessary. I've always been a confident person. I've always been someone to bet on myself and never feel as though I couldn't do anything. But sometimes that's a double-edged sword, because then I feel like I can do everything, and I take on too much, and then I crash and burn, and I don't want to do nothing. So just the response from people just saying how much y'all support me, or how much y'all care, or you feel like you're my cousin. Like, y'all just sitting on my bed right now. Like, we just kicking it. I know I'm just sitting here talking to a camera, but the understanding of where this message is going to go and how these things are going to continue to grow and expand and hopefully turn into something, knowing that just, I don't know, it puts a battery in my back. So that's it. This is the first of many, and I know people say that all the time. Like, here we go, getting the ball. I don't have shit else going on. So for me to not at least set the camera up and just fucking yap, I don't see why not. Let me know in the comments what types of content y'all enjoy consuming, what you would like to see from me. I'm dealing with some neurological issues right now from the prior burnouts and just stress of life and all that. So I ain't going nowhere right now. So things I can do around the house are probably the better options, but I just appreciate y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all for allowing me the opportunity to just to have a little space in this corner of the internet. We got to outshine all the hate, and there's a lot of hate in this world right now. And the only way that we can drive out the darkness is to turn the light up a little bit. So that's what I plan on doing. If you made it to the end, I appreciate you so much. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Please drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. If not, all good. Maybe just start it over and give it another chance and see if you pick up something you didn't pick up the first time. But for now, make sure your friends are okay. Tell your people you love them and be kind to yourself as well. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Love y'all.